Evening, beloved. So there's a couple little stories running around on the hamster wheel that I figured I would address within quote-unquote Christendom from a biblical standpoint. So let's talk about it. This video will be what I have to say as both a student and an amateur scholar of the scriptures from their original language, culture, and context concerning all these church folks under the episcopacy, not the Catholic over there, but the other episcopacies and whatnot, that have a problem with that pastor Michael Todd for wearing a quote bishop's shirt when he was presiding over the homegoing celebration of Bishop Carlton Pearson, and may his spirit rest in peace. Now, I don't know how true this part is, but to give further context, it is claimed that Bishop Carlton Pearson asked him to wear that shirt when presiding in memory of or in honor of him. Now, if that part is true, as far as I'm concerned, that's the end of the story. If Bishop wanted him to wear that, that's it. Now, some of y'all that's within those specific denominations are getting in y'all draws in tonight because, well, he's not a bishop, so he's the big. First of all, most of y'all within those denominations had already branded Bishop Carlton Pearson a heretic, quote unquote, for some of his beliefs that he professed later in life. So your denomination is no longer associated. He's not within that or under that umbrella. So whatever Bishop asked him to do is not under your umbrella of authority anyway. So, yeah, no. Second of all, as I said earlier, as a student and amateur scholar of the scriptures, it never ceases to amaze me how church folk want to argue and holler and carry on and get the draws entirely in several knots over something that is not biblical at all. Literally, all this traditional mess, the cassocks, the robes with the button in the front of it and got the white collar on the front, that ain't in the Bible. Y'all got that from the Roman Catholic Church. All the various robes and vestments and everything, y'all got that from the Catholic Church. Now, I don't know the very specific origins of all the specific garments and whatnot, but one thing I do know, it did not originate from the Bible. It did not originate from the Hebrew faith at all. What's my point? My point is, y'all about ready to crucify this dude and carry on and make social media posts and all this and other carrying on type stuff. And y'all are acting like he broke some kind of biblical commandment when there is no biblical commandment concerning this. Well, that's just how we do it. That's our tradition. I don't care. And more importantly, the Most High does not care. I'm going to read y'all a little scripture. I didn't want to read out of my granddaddy's King Jimmy, but guess what? That was the only thing close at hand. So let's go here. First, I'm going to go to Matthew chapter 15. And yes, I'm going to skip around. But the context of this is the Pharisees were confronting Yeshua about why his disciples were not washing their hands before they ate. And so it says here as to why, Matthew chapter 15, verse 2, why do thy disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? Notice it didn't say transgress the commandments of the Most High, the traditions of the elders. For they wash not their hands when they eat bread, Messiah's answer being, but he answered and said unto them, why do ye also transgress the commandment of God by your tradition? At the end of verse 6, the Messiah accuses the Pharisees of making the commandment of God of none effect by their tradition. Verse 7, ye hypocrites, well did Isaiah prophesy of you, saying, this people draweth nigh unto me with their mouth, and honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. But in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men, taking your traditions and elevating them to the level of Scripture when they literally mean nothing to the Most High. The same exact scenario is said in Mark chapter 7, but I'm reading these verses right here because I like what it says. Mark chapter 7, we'll start at verse 7. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. For laying aside the commandment of God, ye hold the tradition of men, as the washing of pots and cups and many other such like things ye do. And he said unto them, full well ye reject the commandment of God, that ye may keep your tradition. Y'all will run through the entire Bible, picking and choosing what commandments of the Most High to keep, often ignoring most of them. Oh, that ain't for me. That's done away with. That's abolished. We ain't got to worry about that. But y'all will make up y'all's own nonsense and then be out here ready to crucify people over something that the Most High did not decree or say, but you act like he did. What your bishop says does not equal what Yah says. What your pastor says does not equal what the Most High says. What your overseer says does not equal what the Messiah says. If your denomination has specific things that it does, I'm not here to fault you on that. Help yourself. But don't be out here. First of all, don't be out here acting like people of different groupings that have nothing to do with your tradition and personal beliefs have to obey your traditions and personal convictions when they are not commandments. We're going to stop that. But also, stop being out here casting stones when, besides the fact that the Messiah said, he who is without sin cast the first stone, you have no biblical reason to even pick up a stone to begin with, because no commandment is violated. Now, I don't know nothing about Michael Todd and whatever he teaches, so I'm not supporting anything that he teaches because I'm not apprised of that. Just make that clear. But the point is, if that's how Bishop Carlton Pearson wanted Pastor Michael Todd to honor him, if indeed that's true and he asked him to do that, let that man alone. At the end of the day, there are bigger issues and bigger fish to fry to deal with in the body than some nonsensical, unbiblical argument about the color of a man's shirt worn at a homegoing celebration. As the mothers used to say, get right, church. Lord have mercy.